This is Texans TV.
Today on the show, David Culley is wearing a wire.
Chris, look it in. Hey, Chris, keep your eyes on it all the way, Chris.
Plus, get to know one of the newest Houston Texans. It's all next on Texans 360.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Rock and roll.
Oh, let's go!
Guess when you think you've seen it all, there's always something else.
Hey, how you doing? We're glad you're with us. This is Texans 360. My name's Drew Dougherty. I'm your host, and we are pumped with a capital P that you're with us. Deepi Sidhu is also with us from Texans TV, HoustonTexans.com, Texans Radio, and Deepi, we have so much to get into. I'm glad you're here to talk about it with me.
I'm pumped too.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for you. I'm pumped for you. I'm pumped that I'm here. I'm pumped for tonight's show because we got a lot to get to.
Lots of pumping going on. Later on, we're going to talk about a small business boost. Plus, we're going in depth with one of the newest Texans, Kamu Grugier-Hill, and we got to go one-on-one with the head coach. But we start things off with news of the week, Deepi. The rest of the NFL is finished with OTAs, mini camps, whatever you want to call it. Everyone is waiting for another month until training camp begins. But I don't know about you. It was nice being out, being able to watch these guys, the Texans, practice, put names with faces, with bodies, et cetera, et cetera. I just love seeing football in June, didn't you?
I mean, it's extra special considering this time last year, how we were not able to do anything.
Yeah.
The players were not out there. I think it felt good for them to be out there, especially the guys that had a rookie season last year where they were virtual most of the time. Mm-hmm. This was their first dose of OTAs, as well as the rookies, as well as the new free agents that signed with the team. So we did catch a little bit of some of the new players. I know we're going to share our thoughts a little bit later on in the show, but it was great to be out there for OTAs.
In a lot of ways, you just touched on the coaches. A lot of ways, the coaching staff is a lot like the roster. There are a few holdovers, a few familiar faces, but there's a lot of new ones as well, both sides, coaching and playing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We saw Tim Kelly out there. He's a familiar face for sure. And on defense, Lovie Smith, I think we have a good understanding of a 4-3 base defense. That's where it's going to be at. And other than that, it's really going to be a surprise come training camp, who's starting where. Yeah,
one of the fun things we got to do this OTA and this preseason, if you will, is put a microphone on the new head coach himself, David Culley. Here's a little bit of what went down.
Oh, yes. Yeah, nice ball, nice ball. Good communication. Yes, sir. Oh, we love it. Oh, yes. 5-yard line. Chris, look it in. Chris. Hey, Chris, keep your eyes on it all the way, Chris. It ain't a touchdown until it's a touchdown. Gunner, gunner, gunner. Gunner, gunner, gunner. Back it up, please. Back it up, please. All right, Keon, back it up. Hang in there, Eric. Hang in there, Eric. Hang in there. That's changing field position, Cam. Set in there. Yo! Substitution, substitution. Good work. You all right, Terrence? Good job, Dre. You hadn't forgotten it. You hadn't forgotten it. Once you got it, you always got it. Terrence on the side. Changing field position. Changing field position. Good work, good work, good work. If you looked around and you've seen most of our coaches and you see us with this on right here, man, don't forget that. Just remember, that's what we're all about. That's what we're all about. And you know what? These last 4 weeks, that's what we wanted to find out. And that's what we are. And that's what we're going to be. And when we come back here, that's what we're going to be. The two things that we've been about this whole time has been the trust. We're talking about trust each other and trust the process, trust what we're doing, and the transition that you made from coming from where you were to coming here with us and finding out what we're all about and what we're going to be about. You accomplished both of those. But listen here, again, we appreciate it. Understand what the goal is. Understand what we're going to do and what we're going to continue to do. Understand that. Keep that with you. That being said, Tyrod, I need the best breakdown that we've had this off season. You understand? The best. So you make sure you got it right. The best we've had. Get on in here.
Together on three. 1, 2, 3. Together.
David Culley, very enthusiastic on the field, very enthusiastic if you just pass him in the hallways like we do from time to time up in the business offices. And, you know, when you talk with folks about his football acumen, a guy like Brandon Cooks, somebody I was able to speak with this week, he said you're so impressed by what Culley's been through and seen and absorbed in almost 3 decades of work here in the NFL. Going to be fascinating to see what he works with here with the Houston Texans.
Yeah, I mean, he's worked in so many different offenses, obviously with Andy Reid, and then obviously his time with Baltimore. But he's been in the league for so many years, and what he brings to the table, aside from that football acumen, obviously, is just his attitude. Mm-hmm. He's coached a lot of different position groups, a lot of different players throughout his time in the NFL, and he's been a lot of fun to get to know. And as I want to see more mic'd ups from David Culley, that's for sure. For sure. Okay, we got a chance, John Harris and Marc Vandermeer did, to go one-on-one with the head coach, or it's really 2-on-1. So here's a little bit of that conversation. Check it out.
Coach David Culley joining us right now on Texans Radio. And Coach, how was it coaching the OTA section of the offseason, all these practices you had recently?
It was so good, Marc, to get out, to finally get on the field and see our guys, be able to see what they're all about, let them see what we were all about. And, you know, the first time I got on that grass, I got so excited. I felt the same way when I first went out there to practice as when Cal named me the head coach of the Houston Texans. That was all over again. Because in the first time, it was like, okay, now here I am, actually really coaching the Houston Texans. And it felt good.
Coach, you've been such a technician coaching in your life and getting very specific. What's it like to oversee the whole thing? And where did you find yourself spending time? Did you spread it out evenly, or were there certain areas where you might spend more time than others?
Marc, I was all over the place. And I'm going to tell you, the reason I was all over the place is that because this is an excellent coaching staff. This staff has been around and know what it takes and knows what it's all about. I've worked with some of these guys before. Some I haven't worked with, but I've coached against them. And just getting around for me to see how they go about doing things and how they do their teaching. And it was basically a learning experience for me. But I tell you what, though, there's 2 things that really just resonated with me as a head coach here. And I couldn't get this in the same day. Is when we start practice, John, you've seen this, where everybody but the offensive lineman, they go through a ball security drill, you know? I mean, and everybody that touches a ball, you know, get to do this drill. And then, so I watched that drill. I love watching that drill, and we start practice with that. The next day, I went down to the defense, and they were hitting that sled. And let me tell you something, that has become one of my favorite things to do is when we start practice with our defense, with that whole defense hitting that sled. You talking about the adrenaline going now to see the defensive backs, to see the linebackers, the linemen, everybody hitting that sled. It just fired me up. They were doing a great job of that, and I get so excited. I actually come out of that drill sometimes tired just from running my mouth and just talking to those guys about how excited I am about them hitting that sled.
Like you said, you've got a bunch of coaches on staff that are really good teachers. How much do you have to fight that urge to not jump in front of your position coaches, if you will?
John, that is a great question, and I'm going to tell you something about that for both of you here. I said to myself, if I ever became a head coach, I said, man, I hope that I don't start going over there in the receiver drills or quarterback drills and all those drills and start getting flashbacks of what I used to do or how I used to do it. And I got to remember, you're the head coach. And here's the other thing. You hired those guys to coach and teach their way, not my way. We all have a way here, and it's the Texan way. And we all know that we do things a certain way, but you teach it how you know how to teach it. And so I found myself now getting much, much better. And listen, the OTAs have been a good lesson for David Culley, the head coach, from that standpoint now.
All right, Coach. Well, thanks so much for the time. Have a great couple of weeks off, whatever the length of time is. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Hey, Marc, I'm off, but we're never off. You know how that is, John. Hey, I appreciate both of you.
When we return, Kamu Grugier-Hill has a lot of connections to a lot of new Texans teammates. Don't move a muscle. Texans 360 rolls on. We are in the Ford Studios. This is Texans 360. I'm Drew Dougherty. That's Deepi Sidhu. And one of the many new faces for the Houston Texans, Deepi, is a guy named Kamu Grugier-Hill. He is a Hawaiian, grew up on the island, and he was actually a big-time rival, went to a big-time rival high school of Kamu Fairbairns. They knew each other growing up, and they marveled at each other's soccer prowess because they were both great soccer players. But he's one of many fascinating new faces on the Texans. You know he's a great special teamer. How much of a defensive impact might he make? We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And he's got a Super Bowl ring as well. He won one with the Philadelphia Eagles. So a lot of guys with a lot of experience throughout the league, and then ties to players that we have here as well. So I'm always sort of fascinated by that to see how it really is just such a small fraternity of players.
It sure is, and he is having a good time being a Houston Texan. I got a chance to go one-on-one with him. We did a little thing called Drew's Dozen, where we sort of went off the beaten path and talked some non-football stuff. Here's a little bit of that.
Time now for a Drew's Dozen. We haven't done this in a while, and the perfect guy to do it with is linebacker, special teamer, Hawaiian, Kamu Grugier-Hill. How you doing, my friend? What's going on?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, first things first, I mentioned Hawaiian in there, and I've been able to go to Hawaii twice. I'm so old, I've covered Pro Bowls there. I got to cover 2 of them, and I love it. I want to go back. I miss it so very much. And you've recently talked about how you thought Houston has some similarities to your home there in Honolulu. What are they? How could you possibly make that connection?
I'm blessed, and I'm definitely a little spoiled just being there and being able to go home in the off season or, whenever to just really call that home. But I mean, believe it, I'm telling you, man, like I love it here. I love it here in Houston. It's really just, the hospitality and just the warmth of everyone. It definitely has a little feel from home.
Okay, so you played soccer growing up. You're from Hawaii. You also played football. You have to know Kaimi Fairbairn from back then, right? I mean, it's such a small. Yeah. What's your background with Kaimi?
Well, not only that, I mean, we went to rival high school, so I was seeing this guy 4 times a year, and it's funny because I was actually just at his house this past weekend, and I was telling him, I was like, bro, it's funny. We knew you're going to the league like your junior year of high school.
Really?
He was unbelievable in high school. Yeah.
That good. Well, it makes sense. I mean, he did win the Kicker of the Year award in college when he was at UCLA, and then came here, and he's been great ever since. So you can kick too. I don't know that everyone knows that. Philadelphia Eagles fans know it, but you had to kind of fill in as a kicker. And Chris Collinsworth was amazed when you did it on Sunday Night Football, but man, you played soccer. I feel like I got this, no problem. You kicked it to the goal line.
It's one of those things that I knew. I was like, no, I got this. And then I woke up the next morning and it's like, wow, I haven't done this in so many years. My whole leg was black and blue.
Was it really just from that?
Just from that, yeah. I was even telling Kamu about that. I was like, do you ever get bruises or anything? He's like, no. And I was like, well, I did.
That's great stuff. Okay, what have you been most impressed with through the first few weeks of OTAs as far as what you think you might be able to do?
Well, I just love, the way Lovey runs his defense. And I mean, the guy's a legend. He really allows you to just be a player and just play and play fast. And for the first time in my career, I really feel like I can be used to my full capability, So I'm really excited for that.
All right, way back when, the transition from home to college, you went to Eastern Illinois. What was the big difference there for you? What was the biggest challenge and change?
It was the biggest difference in every single way possible. I remember I never left Hawaii in my life. I didn't even have a visit to Eastern Illinois. I actually just got dropped off there. And the first shock to me was just the cornfields. I was rattled about that. My first time seeing seasons, 4 seasons, and seeing the leaves change, and my first time seeing snow too. So
that's a big difference in what you had back home for sure.
Absolutely.
Listen, we're really excited to have you. We appreciate you coming on with us, and we can't wait to talk with you more in the future. Best of luck this season. Best of luck this offseason. When we return, it's time to talk about training camp and a few players to watch. Don't you go anywhere. Texans 360 continues.
back. This is Texans 360, Drew and Deepi, and in about 5-6 weeks, it's late July, Texans will be back. Rest of the NFL will be back doing training camp right across the street on Kirby at the Houston Methodist Training Center. I don't know about you. I'm excited to see fans back out there. I'm excited to be back out there because, like you mentioned earlier in the program, it was basically all through Zoom over the last year with COVID-19.
Yeah, that's a great answer, the fans, because we really missed them last year. You and I were covering training camp live. We were in studio.
Yes.
We were able to walk out there and catch sort of the tail end of practice, but to be out there with the fans once again, nothing like it. You know what I'm looking forward to seeing? Pads. I want to see pads. I want to see the running backs out there. I want to see the O-line because I think that's the one group that you really can't tell a lot from in OTAs. I mean, certainly they're out there, they're practicing, but to see them in training camp with the pads, I know day 2 or 3 when they put the pads on, that's always the first thing everyone wants to see. How do the backs look? How does the O-line look? I'm super duper excited about that.
And naturally, another position that everyone wants to see, whether it's 2011, whether it's 2021, the quarterback spot.
Oh, for sure.
Tyrod Taylor, Davis Mills, the guy's going to get the Lions' share of the snaps for the Texans this August. And let's see how good the rookie is. Let's see what Tyrod Taylor has to offer because his last 2 years have been truncated. The last few seasons have been truncated because he had Baker Mayfield in Cleveland and then Phillip Rivers ahead of him there. And he was going to play last season with Los Angeles, but he had the injury and Justin Herbert seized the opportunity and was lights out. So what can he do? Because he's led the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs when the Buffalo Bills, they'd been hurting for over a decade, and he was able to kind of lift them up and take them to the January work. They didn't do that great when they got there, but it was a Herculean task just to get them there and drag them into the playoffs.
Yeah, ending a 17-year drought for the Bills. I mean, I feel like Tyrod Taylor is one of those guys that had he been in maybe a better situation on a team, who knows where he could be. It just seems like there was always a rookie waiting in the wings. He rejoins Pep Hamilton, someone he's worked with in the past. He's worked with David Culley in the past. So there is a little bit of familiarity there for him as well, and I am looking forward to seeing him.
It's going to be one of many, many things to watch throughout training camp. We're going to keep you covered here on HoustonTexans.com and Texans 360 throughout. Okay, when we return, we've got much more Texans 360, so don't you move a muscle.
I'm Steve Stevens, and I'm the CEO of Amegy Bank, and I am thrilled to be here today at Coach Anita and Company, a business started by Victoria Elizondo for the Texans and the Amegy bankers to come together and say, we want to identify those companies that are in need. Timing could not be better. Thank you, the Texans, for allowing us to participate with you. You found an incredible recipient that I think will pay rewards in the days ahead.
It's wonderful that you're still with us here on Texans 360, Drew Dougherty, Deepi Sidhu. You know, there's a lot of guys on the Texans roster currently who have been selected to a Pro Bowl. You got Laramie Tunsil, the left tackle. You got a return man. He's new this year in Andre Roberts. He's been to the last 3 or been selected to the last 3. And a guy who went back in 2015, the great John Weeks, the long snapper, Deepi.
Love John Weeks. You were there with him. I know you've got a great story about his practicing.
3 or 4 or 5.
I mean, you really got him to, year 12. I'm just kidding. He didn't.
I wouldn't go that far. I appreciate that.
Anything.
I didn't do that.
I was joking. John Weeks, what a career he's had.
Yeah.
He was training as an EMT out in Arizona, and now look, 12 years in the league, and he's a guy that we never think about because he always does his job so perfectly.
You bring that up, so why don't we watch this 53 of him, which kind of goes further in depth. And no matter what happens, win or lose, the Texans are going to make a little bit of history on Sunday.
We have men going out to midfield for the coin toss, and one of them, John Weeks for the Texans, about to play in his 170th game for Houston, a new franchise record.
Congratulations. Thanks, brother. Have a good one, all right? Let's go.
John Weeks will snap. Anger with the hold. Fairbairn's kick is up, and it's good!
The famous saying is that you judge a long snapper by not really knowing who the player is, right? I think nothing shows me that the organization has faith in me more than continually let me go out there and do my job at a high level. I've been able to do that for whatever number we're at now and continually hope to increase that is something that I'm working towards and very proud of. I can only hope as a snapper that I can continue to do that at a high level.
Hey, good job, boys. Good job. Yeah, that's perfect.
I always liked that it was kind of a thankless job. I've always liked to just stay under the radar. It was one of those things where the more work I put into it, the more comfortable I got with it and the better I got with it. I thought I had a chance to be good at it. I thought it was going to give me the opportunity to go to a very good school and get a great education, so I continued to work at it, and here we are. There was a time for 2 years when I was out of football working towards becoming a firefighter that I thought that dream and that reality of becoming a professional football player was over, and that's fine.
Jonathan Weeks, Baylor University. That's a strike.
Gave myself a few months, told myself I'd give it one more crack at it, and prepared for that camp, and when I showed up, I had a good day.
Perfect.
The first time I got to actually put on the uniform was back in my hometown of Phoenix for the preseason. So getting to experience the moment of putting on the NFL jersey for the first time with all the people that had encouraged me for those 2 years to continue to work towards my dream and my goal, that was probably the most special moment for me.
All right, here we go. Come on.
To give it one more go and to be able to sign with the team and then to continuously be going, to look back 11 years later and just look back at my journey and my career is something that I'll cherish and be very proud of.
The snap is down, snap is down, snap is down, and it's
coming from my peers, coming from the guys that I share the field with every day, to have their respect is kind of, for me, what it's all about. As long as I know that those guys in the locker room, they respect me, they know that, I'm willing to do whatever I can for the team, whatever I can for the city, and when a time comes and we're called upon to go hit a game-winning field goal, to know that those guys trust me and know that I'm going to deliver my guys a good ball to put it through the uprights, that's what means the world to me, and I'm thankful for every play I get to share in the uniform.
Weeks with the snap, Anger with the hold. The snap is down, Fairbairn's kick is up, and it's good! And the Texans go to the divisional round in dramatic fashion!
That's all we got for you today. We appreciate you watching. We'll be back again next week. For Deepi, I'm Drew. We also appreciate Mitchell Moreland, Tyler Marcotte, and the crew putting the show together. And remember, get your phone out, scan the QR code kind of buzzing around the screen, because we want you to experience game day together. Be here at NRG Stadium for all the Texans games in 2021 and beyond. Go to HoustonTexans.com/ticketing for more info there. And until next time, we'll see you. So go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.